Evening, folks. My name is Karel Marais. I will be the lecturer for Educational Management and Leadership. I see from the hellos going around, there's a couple of you that I know. There's a couple of you that I know your names that I haven't met before. Yes, and on the screen you can see the spelling of my name, but you can also, more importantly, see my email address. I see the .co.za has been slightly chopped off. Please do me a favor and write that down now. It's important that you have my email address. That's probably the fastest way of getting hold of me. And I want to say something about my emails right up front. If you send me an email, I try to respond within 24 hours. Obviously, sometimes over weekends it takes a bit longer. But if I haven't responded within 24 hours, please feel free to drop me another email. I work as a head of program down on the Cape Town campus, and I sometimes get a ton of emails, and it's possible that I've missed your email. It's possible that I've seen it and I've forgotten about it. So it's absolutely within your rights, if I've not responded within 24 hours, that you send me an additional email and say, hey, Karel, what's going on? I sent you an email yesterday. Please, I'm waiting for the response. As I said, weekends it might go a bit slower, but please don't send me an email and go quiet, and then 2 weeks later you say, yeah, but you never responded. Please also do me a favor, and in the subject line, put the course code EDML8429W in there, or just said educational management or something like that, so that I know, because sometimes I get emails from students that take a while for me to figure out who am I dealing with and what's going on. I would like to quickly, just if I can get to that, see if I can do something here quickly. I would like to see if you are, how many of you are active in higher education? In other words, who plays some role in higher education and who's not in a higher education role? You'll see on your screen there's a quick poll. If you don't mind, just click along there, just so you can have an idea. So I see, yeah, okay, so it seems like the majority is in higher education or working in higher education. It's just for me to have a sense of the students. I see 2 people have logged in and they're off to make dinner, or put the kids, play outside with the kids and so on, but their name is on the list that they are present. So, okay, so the majority of you seem to be working in higher education. It's just interesting. There's always a mix between those in higher education and those that are not in higher education. And I'd like to have a sense of who and what we're dealing with, as it makes it sometimes quite pertinent in terms of how I deal with certain issues. Okay, so this session, tonight's session, is going to be an introductory session. As you are aware, or should be aware at this stage, these are never teaching sessions. There are times that I will actually go through stuff and teach certain aspects of stuff, simply because it's a complex concept or something like that. But as a rule, these are discussions. I give you highlights, we talk about things, we ask questions, we debate stuff, and so on. Tonight's session, however, is more of an introductory session. I've switched off my camera just simply for bandwidth reasons, to protect your bandwidth and to make sure that I don't break up. So I'm going to take you through what we're going to do this semester. I'm going to take you through what the course looks like, what my expectations are, etc., etc. But let's get right into it. So in terms of module outcomes, there are 4 module outcomes. And interesting, normally when you see 4 module outcomes, you expect at least 4 sections. This has got 3 sections. So the first part we're going to talk about is the legislation. We will, I think that was Gareth, was it Gareth? Yeah, Gareth, yes, it worked. I just got your email. So the first thing we'll look at is legislation. The course is, when you look at the prescribed material, it is legislatively heavy, and therefore we need to form a basis. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the legislation. Where are we legislatively in South Africa, and what are the rules that govern higher education? Those rules are changing, and they're changing quite rapidly. I know many of you are in private higher education, and the rules are changing to accommodate us, to allow us to go towards university status. For those of you that are not in private higher education, at this stage, a higher education institution that's private may not call itself a university. The law is very specific about that. However, the minister has already announced legislation and a pathway on how we get to call ourselves a university. The interesting thing, for those of you that don't know this, is that the Constitutional Court, in their when they gave verdict on I'm talking about Varsity College, of course, when they gave verdict on our LLB degree and stating that whether our LLB students are truly LLBs, part of the judgment read that Varsity College is a university in all but name, which is a very interesting take on the subject. Okay, right. So if we've got a legislative framework, if we've got something that guides us and tells us this is where we must operate, how we're supposed to operate, the things we're allowed to do, the things we can't do, then somehow we've got to check ourselves against that. And that's the second module outcome. The compliance to the legislation. How do we comply to legislation? And what are our quality assurance systems? And quality assurance systems tend to run with legislation. So we assume the legislation is going to give us the best possible quality. And we then run quality assurance systems and then our compliance with legislation in line with that. Module outcome 3, educational models and strategies. How do we form ourselves? How do we lead within an educational system? What leadership styles can we do? What models can we implement? And what strategies can we use to make sure that we're delivering a high level and a high quality of higher education? And then lastly, what are the critical success factors? What are the things that an institution must get right to be effective within higher education? I'm droning on, and I didn't mention this at the beginning. If you have a question, please interrupt me at any stage. If you ask me a question right at the end, I might say, did I really say that? I don't know what the context was. So if you have a question, you can type it out. I prefer you just saying, excuse me, Carl, let's just have a look at what we're talking about here. So feel free to interrupt me. In terms of the materials that we'll use, yes, Mirsha.
Hi, I hope you're well. I just wanted to find out, we have not received our study material as yet. Do you know by any chance when we will be receiving that?
Okay, if you say you haven't received your study material, what do you mean?
So like the module outline we have not received, and then also assignment 1, 2, and the summative.
Okay, so all of that is uploaded on the student portal. I downloaded mine from the student portal, so it is on the student portal. So you'll have to go download it from there. Nobody's going to email it to you. You'll have to go
No, so
download it.
I did go onto the student portal several days. I even went today and I did not find it. Is it
Okay.
under our module?
Okay, yes, it will be under EDML, what is it, 84 something. Do yourself a favor, go onto the student portal, scroll down to student materials, and when you're under student materials, in the search bar, type in the EDML code. I've found previously, and I can't remember with this subject how I found this one, but I found if I go down the list, sometimes I don't find something. If you put it in the search bar, then sometimes you find it. Please go check it again. If you don't come right, drop me an email tomorrow, okay?
Okay, perfect. I haven't checked the search bar, but I'll do so. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Carl.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, assignment 1, doesn't say
Yep.
distance. It says, I think it's almost like a class thing. The others say distance.
Give
The
me
assignment one says
a moment.
contact. So is that the same for distance?
Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, so the assignment I have, I've just opened it. That I downloaded from the system says EDML8429W under the module code. So maybe there was a previous one or something. Can you hear me, Vanessa? Okay, can I just check that others can hear me? Okay, cool. Thanks, Vanessa. So the assignment, I just had a look at the assignment I downloaded. It definitely says the W at the back, and the W is always the online version. This course is, yes, it is presented in the face-to-face mode on certain campuses. But I definitely have a W. Just make sure that when you download, that you're downloading from the online, under the online heading and not under the face-to-face one. Does that suit you, Vanessa? Okay, I'm going to assume that sorts Vanessa out. If not, she'll indicate that there's still a problem.
Sorry,
Okay,
Carl.
Yep.
I've just checked, and for the assignment one next to mine, it says contact. No, okay. So it doesn't say distance.
You have the wrong assignment. The assignment, the name of the assignment, the file name is EDML8429A1.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
then
W there.
Yeah, that's correct. That's what I've got.
Yeah, but if you open that, you will find that it says in it it says W under the course code.
Got it.
Got it.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, folks, crisis here. Give me a second, please. I just want to check something. There's just a quick problem with my internet that I need to fix, or I'm going to lose you all. Sorry about that, folks. I was getting a warning that a battery has gone flat, and that would have ended my my connection. Okay, Lisa, so we sorted out. Just check your code there that it does say a W, and if it does say W, then we're fine. Okay, George, let's go with you first. I don't know, George. I don't know which other classroom they're in. There was a link. There's two groups. There was a link placed in the announcement in the other group. That link would bring them into this. If they're in the course room, then they need to leave the course room and join this call. So if you go to the home page where we Cecile, if you are here, you don't need the link. You are in the correct classroom.
Sorry, I'm not talking about the link. I'm talking about the material for the course.
Okay, let me have a look in terms of the material for the course, and what I'll do is I will tomorrow check it up, and then I will post a link in the announcements.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think Bain might just have might just have posted it in the chat. So if you click on there, then you can have a look. George, it's not K Marie, it's K A Marie, the email. That's K-A-M-A-R-A-I-S, not K-Marie. Okay, so let me just, guys, I'm going to try to sort these guys out that are struggling to get in here. Says restricted users. So okay, guys, can I just Mersha or Bain just tell me something? Access denied, where are we now? Because we're dealing with two things here. We've got guys in other classrooms, and we've got guys, people struggling to find course material. So Mersha, access denied, what are we talking about? Course materials. Okay, forget about course materials. I'm going to go look tomorrow. I will do a link. I'll send you a link in the announcement. If we then still have a problem, then we'll take it from there. Bain, you struggling to get guys into this classroom, am I sure?
Hi, no, sorry. I just had a link to get the resources that was working for me, so I was just trying to that.
Cool. Okay, guys, let's not worry about the materials. I will, as I say, I will check the materials tomorrow, maybe after the session, and I'll do an announcement about that. In terms of the materials, there's a module manual. By now, you should know that the module manual guides you through the course and tells you what the various learning outcomes are, especially in this course. You need to make sure you tick the boxes in terms of learning outcomes. When you do get to download the correct assignments, you will see the assignments are quite broad and you need to give your opinions. I'll speak to the assignments just now. Now, there will be special sessions, but please remember, your opinion needs to be based on the materials on hand. It's not your opinion that you've sucked out the thumb. It's your opinions that you've read through all the material. You've formed your opinion based on those materials, and you then give us those opinions. In terms of the prescribed works, there's 10 downloadable documents, mostly policy and legislation and position papers. I am going to get back to those in a little while and talk in detail about them. And then there are, in various learning units, there's different articles, etc., that are also prescribed for that particular learning unit. And they are in the module manual. They're listed in the module manual. But I'll get back to that as well. On Learn, all your module information is there. Loads of links. It also guides you through your work and some exercises. In terms of iStasks, I haven't posted iStasks yet. I will get around to it. But typically, there may be the odd specific iStask I want you to do. But in general, in my classes, especially at the postgraduate level, I work on a situation where you do 4 or 5, and I prefer if you do more than just the standard 4 iStasks for me, and VC Learn exercises for me, and I take those as your iStasks. When you do a Learn exercise, I can't give feedback to every single person, so I'll give some feedback to some people on the one, and then on the next one, I'll give other people feedback, etc., etc., etc. It's just not possible for me with a large volume of students to give feedback to every single student. If there's something that you've done in an exercise on Learn, and you'd like feedback, and you say, Carl, I really want to know what you think about this, drop me a line. I'm very happy to go in and give you the feedback. It's just that because we're not doing the way students typically work through Learn in a distance base is that they work at different paces. So one person's doing exercise 1 and the other one's doing exercise 5 already. So sometimes it's problematic. Okay, let's move on. So in terms of the assessments, there's 3 assignments. The first assignment deals with the National Development Plan and how the National Development Plan speaks to higher education. And I want to make want you to make a mental note here. Be very, very careful when you're talking about education and when you read about education. This qualification and this course in particular deals with higher education. Make sure that any sources you use and any references you use, any policy documents, you are looking at the higher education policy. So there's policy on education, but a lot of that is school policy. A lot of it is even preschool policy. So anything you look at must be post-school. Post-school, we include the TVET colleges. And make sure that when you're looking at any documents, you're looking at those policies and you're not busy with a primary school policy or something like that. Also, please, guys, and I'll talk to it when I talk to academic integrity as well. I expect at a postgraduate level, I believe most, if not all of you, are second-year students on this qual. By this time, you should understand how to write. Many of you are busy with your research projects already. You need to understand how to write. To simply regurgitate or summarize what sources are saying does not work at this level. And if you're doing that, it's unfortunately going to reflect in your marks. We need students to take 3, 4, 5 sources, say, this guy says this, in contrast, that guy says that, this guy makes this argument. If we take these 3 things, then we can say that this is where we're standing, this is why we can say that. And if we take this stance, then we are taking a stance that is directly opposed to what she has written in this document, what they have written in that document, and therefore our stance is different to their stance, and our stance is different for the following reasons. That is how you integrate work. That is the level of work I expect of students at this level in assignments. There's and I'm going to call it a rubbish statement in the assignment 1 I saw this afternoon that talks to you need to use the 4 prescribed sources and 2 other sources. If you use 6 sources at this level, and I've already queried that because I think it's a typo, if you use only 6 sources, of which 4 are prescribed sources at an assignment at this level, it's not enough. It's definitely not enough. You would need to use many more. And when I do the prep for the assignments, I'll talk to that. But I would expect at least 15 sources in a normal assignment at this level. Okay, second assignment, and they ask a number of key questions around educational leadership and management that you need to respond to. And then the last one, the summative one, has not been released yet. So we typically get that a little bit later in the year. You will see I've put the dates on there. I normally don't put the dates, but I have put the dates on there. Please, please, please. You'll see right at the bottom, those dates are correct on the 6th of the 3rd, in other words, today. If you handed in on the 17th of April and it was due on the 14th because they've changed the PAS, don't refer to this slide. This slide was only correct today. I don't know if it's going to be correct tomorrow. So please make sure you check on the PAS. I will hold detailed prep sessions before each assessment point. In those prep sessions, I tend to go into quite a lot of depth, and I say to students, this is how you need to approach it. I don't tell you what to write. I like students being able to write their own opinions, and also I don't mind if you have a contrary opinion, but if you've got a contrary opinion to the standard opinion, then you need to be able to substantiate it. Mersha, the PAS, also student homepage, scroll all the way down to the bottom, where you see the various faculties. Faculty of Education should be under that. On the same page where you get the student materials. And I know the PAS is there. I downloaded my PAS from there as well. So it's not, if you scroll down, you get campuses, it's not under campuses. Scroll down further, you get the various faculties. Look for Faculty of Education, it's under there. Okay, assessments and ethical conduct. I do this because the ethical bar at this level is much higher. And I want to talk about plagiarism, copying, and I'd like to talk to the ChatGPT and the other AI instruments. So plagiarism is basically when you're not properly referencing, and I have got a a very serious problem with plagiarism, simply because I teach this for a living. This is what I do. My currency that I trade in is my knowledge. So that is how I make money. I sell knowledge. I sit in front of groups of people. I stand in front of classes. I talk to them and I share my knowledge and my understanding and where I come from. If you take what I'm saying or what I've written and you write it as your own, you're stealing from me. Or if you do that from another author, you're stealing from them. You're stealing their means to make a living. And that is why I've got a serious problem with plagiarism. I check it. I check the scores that you get. Don't believe the 25% thing and all of that. I go look at what in your text has been flagged and why it's been flagged, and I compare that to the original. I check your references. I will randomly check sources. I will go into your reference list. I will take some of the sources in your reference list. I will Google them. I will check if they say what you say they say. I am pedantic in that way, and I'm not shy about it. I say it to you up front. So use proper referencing. I am not a stickler for there must be a semicolon there and there must be a full stop there and etc. As long as it's correct according to Harvard and you are consistent in the way in which you reference, I'm happy. So a couple of basics. Everything that's in text must be in your reference list. Nothing in your reference list that's not in text. We only use in text we use the surname and year unless it's a direct quote. Then we also use the page number. Those type of things need to be there, but you need to do it the same all the time. If you're unsure about plagiarism, please contact the online information center. Let the ladies there help you and show you how to reference properly, because I will deduct marks. I will throw stuff back to you. Copying, we have had cases in this particular course where students have simply taken other students' work and submitted it as their own. As far as I'm concerned, that's fraud. It's also very, very problematic if you do something like that and you're working for a tertiary institution. So guys, please, let's be careful about that. Copying from AI, and let me talk about AI while I'm at it. Please use AI. It's probably not what you've been told previously. Please use it. Please use ChatGPT. Use it to help you to form ideas, help you to form outlines, help you to form headings. Under no circumstances do you put the question that you need to answer into chat. You ask it things to enlighten you. Under no circumstances do you copy and paste from chat. You rework, rewrite, and make it your own work. If you use ChatGPT or any other AI, you need to paste the link to the conversation as part of your declaration, and you must declare that you have used AI, and you need to say what you've used it for, why you have used it, and you need to give me the link to the discussion so that I can go click and see what AI and you have said to each other. And yeah, if you say you haven't used AI, and I detect that you have, and it's not very difficult to detect it these days, sorry. Then we go back to copying, and that's dealt with under student code of conduct. Okay, everybody clear on that? Can I move on? Okay, moving on. Right, so these are the three key module, or the key parts of the course that we do, the three learning units. The first one is navigating the landscape of higher education in South Africa. This gives us that broad helicopter view of what's going on in the landscape. Who's doing what is the policy, the legislation, what are we required to do, what are we expected to do, and we'll also touch on some of the issues in higher education currently, some of the problems, some of the past problems that have been solved, and some of the future problems that we're facing. For example, a future problem that we are facing is we have got too many people that want to do degrees. Everybody thinks they must do a degree, and we don't have enough people going to TVET colleges. We need more people to become mechanics and electricians. And between you and me, you probably can make more money doing that. The second part is educational management and leadership. We look at leading versus managing. What's the differences? What are the challenges in leadership? How do genders deal with leader and leadership, leadership styles, etc. And then lastly, we deal with the institutional effectiveness and QA within higher education. Effectiveness versus efficiency. What's the difference between the two? Where are the touch points? And then what are the international quality assurance criteria? What are the best practices that we see from the international world, and how do they play out within South Africa? So those are that's the course outline, the content that we're going to look at. My approach to how I run this. So there's different levels of how we teach. When you're working with a first year starter type of group, we talk about this sage on the stage. So the person that is standing on the stage is revered by everybody. Everybody hangs on their lips and just believes everything they say. I start off here by being a guide on the side. I guide you, but you need to decide where you're going with your thought process. And then as we progress, I'll start to come, which is the third part to do this. I would do the meddler in the middle. In other words, I'm going to mess with your thoughts. I'm going to say, oh, you think so? How about this? What have you thought of that? And I'm purposely going to try to mess with your thoughts. Because if I can do that, I can get you to a deeper level of understanding. To say, but hang on, I've just said this is how I believe we should deal with gender inequality in higher education, for example. Carl says this. How do I base my argument on how we deal with gender inequality to counter his argument? Right? And so I start off guide on the side, and then depending on how the class goes, I like to become the middle in the middle. I will, and I know I've promised this, and I have not been able to put it together because it's very complex, give you a pacer. That pacer will include all classes, all preps for summative and the formative. It'll be a week by week play guide. What must we do that week? Right? So as long as you stick to the pacer and you do what the pacer requires you to do, you'll be fine. You'll get through the course. There won't be any rushing right at the end or rushing just before the assignments, which you always do. There's a trap we always fall in. You'll be able to slowly but surely work through the complete course. And more importantly, master the contents of the course. Because when we get to the postgraduate level, you need to be gaining information, gaining knowledge. You shouldn't be passing assessments. That's not what it's about. It's about learning. It's truly about learning. Undergrad level, yeah, get your marks, pass the assessment. A lot of that stuff you're never going to look at again. This is stuff that you need to build knowledge on because it changes the way in which you act in the world of work and how you act in higher education. Family is something else I want to stand for. I know the life as a distance student. I've got 4 degrees. 3 of those I did part-time distance study. So I understand that. And it's very important that you agree with your family when, and when I say family, it's in the broadest context, significant others, special people in your life, whatever it may be. You need to agree when are you going to work? When are you going to study? For me, it's always been early mornings. I get up at 4 and I work, depending if it's a weekday or a weekend, until 8 or until 6. And that's when I do most of my studying and that type of work. And then if I need to work on a Saturday or Sunday, I'll say to my wife, okay, listen here, we this Sunday I'm going to have to work, blah, 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 blah. Sort it out with your family, that they understand when you are not available and when you are available. Because part of that is when you make time to study, it's a date with yourself. You don't stand somebody up for a date. If you made a date, you go to the date. If you made a time to study, you do that studying, but your family needs to understand. Assignments, I think I've spoken enough about, how I will approach the assignments, and that we will have dedicated sessions for the assignments. Those dedicated sessions, I would prefer that you come to those sessions prepared. So at least you should have read through the assignment. Most of the assignments are going to give you options on what you can talk about. They normally give you 3 options. You choose what part of that work you want to discuss. You should have decided that, and you should do a bit of reading around it, so you should have a sense of where you're at. Any questions at this point, guys? I want to do one more thing, and that is work through the materials, just show you what the prescribed materials are and what they do. Any questions now? Ryan?
Hi, I was just wondering, sorry, is there going to be any group work in this module?
Why is everybody so scared for group work?
Time constraints mainly.
Yes, George, there is. Bain, it depends how you guys behave yourselves. If you behave yourselves and you're nice and you participate in the classes, I won't give you any group work. If you guys don't participate in the classes, I'll make sure I put a lot of group work in there. There are no, the assignments are not group work. I understand where the group work things come from, and I understand the restrictions, and I understand how group work can be difficult. Group work in higher education has got a very important place, but in this course, I haven't seen the final assessment, but in the previous years we haven't had group work, so I would be surprised if we do have group work this time around. Okay, any other questions, guys? Sorry, and just an apology. I'm old, so I'm not always gender neutral. I try to really work hard on it. When I say guys, I apologize in advance. I don't mean it in an insulting way. Okay, anything else? Any other questions? Going, gone. I'll try to stick to folks, and I'll keep trying to stick to folks, but people have said to me that also doesn't work. Okay, so the PMs are your prescribed. Oh, and there's this horrible typo in the heading. Sorry about that. These are the prescribed materials. Okay, now let me explain something for you. If you look at the first prescribed, that's the Higher Education Qualifications Framework. That is the prescribed material as per your module guide. So I've uploaded that. So under more resources, you will find prescribed materials. I've uploaded all of these prescribed materials, but you need to listen very carefully. If you look at prescribed material 2, there's a replacement doc. That is the QEP framework for 2014. The one that you have been prescribed is actually, I think, the 2007 one or something like that one. So Sector 3 is the one that's prescribed. PM4 is the Higher Education Act. That's the standard prescribed one. PM5 is the white paper. So here you'll see the critical skills list, for example. I've replaced it. The skills list that yours refers to is a 2014 list. I've replaced it with, I think, the 2023 list. The comprehensive doc for the medium-term strategic framework, they refer to the 20, yes, I want to remember, I think it's the 2014 to 2019 one. I've updated it with the 2019 to 2024 one. The medium-term strategic framework in PM8, I've looked at the performance policy, the policy brief on performance, and I've highlighted there what part of that document you need to read. The PM9 is your National Development Plan for 2030. That plan was set up in 2013. That document is 480 pages long. This PM9 that I've replaced it with is the executive summary that's 70 pages long. That's digestible, but I've also done a 9A, which is the 10-year review of the National Development Plan. So it tells you this document that we wrote in 2013, this is what we aim for 2030. After 10 years, this is where we are now. And then the PM10 is the higher education. I think one prescribed is after 15 years of democracy. I've uploaded the 25 years of democracy one. My suggestion to you is to work from the newer documents. Some of the stuff that you'll see online, some of the exercises will refer to the old ones. If there's an ICE that you've completed and I'm marking it, and you're using the new document, I'm very happy. In the assessments, I would expect you to use the latest possible documents. If we've got a document written in 2023, why would you go to a document written in 2017 and use the 2017 as the gospel? You need to use the latest one. That is part of how we do research and how we work. So what I've done is I've taken the grunt work out of it for you, and I've given you all the latest ones. I have not had time yet to, so for Learning Unit 1, it's not a problem because it's all these documents. For Learning Unit 2, in the Learning Unit, in the module guide, there's a whole stack of prescribed documents, articles, etc. I've not worked through those yet. I will work through them and check the links for you. When I find the document, typically I will download it. I will create a folder under more resources. I will dump them in there for you, and then you don't have to go look for them. I know you have access to them, and I also know you're not going to get stuck behind a paywall or something like that. So I'll do all that grunt work for you. You guys need to do the reading work. You need to work through the documentation. You need to make sure you understand what these documentations say and how they relate to each other. One last thing that I've put up on more resources is that I've put up a short thing about who's Carl. If anyone wants a bit more background about me and want to know if I'm a total idiot or not, please go read that. It'll tell you a little bit more about me. And I'll keep on uploading stuff as I go along for you to have a look at. Okay, ask me your questions. There's my email address again if anybody still hasn't written it down. But that's what I've got for you guys for tonight as an introduction. Please, are there any questions? I will look at the materials tomorrow. I will let you know what's going on there. Mersha, yeah?
I just wanted to find out going forward, will our lectures be on a Wednesday?
All lectures have been scheduled for a Wednesday. All lectures are scheduled for 6 o'clock on a Wednesday evening. All lectures would be, okay, every second week, yes, Vanessa. However, and I will look at the overall timetable when I do this, if I have to do this. Sometimes it simply does not work out to be able to have a Wednesday, then wait 2 weeks and have a Wednesday, especially when we get to exam preps or assignment preps. It may be necessary for me to schedule an additional session. In other words, I'll see you this Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we'll do an assignment prep. The Wednesday after that will be normal classes. I will always record sessions, and I will always post a link to the YouTube link to the sessions. If I have a class scheduled, and even if I don't, say for example, you guys are handing in on Friday, and I've got something scheduled for that Wednesday, I will typically make that a Q&A class. How a Q&A class works, I will schedule a session, I will log on at 6 o'clock, and I'll sit there. I'm not going to expect you to come to a class a day or 2 days before your assignment's due, or if your assignment's due on a Thursday to come to class on a Wednesday. I will be there and I'll spend 15 minutes waiting. If there's nobody there, I leave. If people come in and they've got questions, I answer the questions. I will sit there for 4 hours answering questions. But I'm not going to sit there if nobody comes into the room. I'll give it 15 minutes. Nobody's there, I leave again. But that would not, when I do those type of things, it will not be giving up a normal class to do that. That will be something additional and so on. You will have all your classes, but typically, yes, every second week. Anything else? That it, guys? Okay, thank you. It's been fun. I think we're going to have a lot of fun in this class, and we're going to have a lot of debates and a lot of differing opinions in this class, and it should be good fun. Enjoy it, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Look out for announcements and for information that I'm sharing with you through VCLearn. Okay, thanks, guys.
Before you go,
No, yes.
just
Marsha?
please a reminder to please check up on the student material for us, because I still can't access anything.
I will check it out, Marsha. It may be a case, I'm going to check if it's there. It may be a Marsha problem and not a system problem, which you'll then have
There's
to
many
take up.
students having the same problem.
No. But let me check out. As I said, I know it's there. I will post something tomorrow to tell you exactly where it is and what it is. And then if you can't get in there, you'll have to take it up with the campus. Okay.
Cool, thanks.
But I will definitely tell you, I can see it. This is the link. This is where it is. And then if you can't get to it, I'll speak to campus as well, and I'll see if I can get a person that you should contact on the campus. Okay. Cool. Okay. Thanks, folks. Cheers.